Come back. All right. Good morning. Good morning, Stacy again. And let's go ahead. And my graphic is improper, and so I'm trying to get it done. I'm gonna have to send it out after the fact. So I'm looking to see if chat is adding the details. Okay. Good morning. We're gonna do 3 inhales and exhales. We'll inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale on my descending count of 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. All right, let's get this neuro party started. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, again. See how when it's not mirroring, I'm fine. Okay, so I am Dr. Donna Louise Thomas-Rodgers, daughter of Leslie Darnell Thomas, granddaughter of Arthur Jethro Evelyn II, and great-granddaughter of Levi Thomas. Welcome to your morning mental workout. My lives are sponsored by the elements H2O. And when I say drink water, you will say drink water, and you will drink water as well. We are on our 3rd day of somatic markers. I believe that we are coming around 3rd. If not, I am prepared to do a 4th day tomorrow. However, today, the decision that I made while I was at appointments was that we're going to do everyday examples. And so I'm going to give you 3 different examples. I'm going to do some explaining. I'm actually trying to see if my ladder is going to change. So at a minimum, I can show it to y'all backwards on my tablet. Otherwise, I'll show you the ladder at the end, tell you that I'm working on the graphic, and then be able to put the graphic inside of the membership so y'all be able to get it, take a screenshot of it and use it. And so I was at the appointment. It was clearer yesterday, not as clear as a bell. It's not crystal clear. And it's because of this scenario. So I'm gonna have to just come back, chat inside of that. So Chad and I had I'm gonna show y'all how long you getting your $20 worth out of chat. So here is my tablet, and hopefully can we see it? So, okay, good morning. So this is my 3rd time iteration with somatic markers. So watch how long of a conversation. Okay, please do it. So can y'all see that? We still going, still going. Still going, still going, still going, still going, still going. Do you see how long this chat is between us? Still going, still going, still going. Now we're working on the ladder. We finally get to the ladder that I'm going to show y'all, and then it ended up being wrong. Those are the graphics, and that's the ladder. So that's the length. So when I say, I'm not going to tell y'all everything that chat and I said, because it is a whole lot of back and forth. So when I say we're going to get this somatic marker, we're going to get the somatic marker, because what we're finding is this is the damn problem. So here is the question that I asked chat so we can get to this, because we're going to get this. We adding this to the system. So I said, chat, class went better today. Somatic markers in regulated and dysregulated brains is still unclear. As you know, this has not been taught to the everyday adult, so they actually don't have a somatic marker pattern recognition to use while learning how to do this. You and I need to brainstorm a way to give them examples of how the brain works through the somatic markers in both the regulated and dysregulated brain, and explain it like we're talking to 15-year-olds. That's what I said to chat. Chat then said, Dr. Donna, this is an excellent and very accurate diagnosis for the teaching gap. You are correct. A critical point that models miss is this. Adults are being asked to use somatic markers without ever having built somatic marker pattern recognition. Good morning, Monique. So they keep talking about somatic markers. Somatic markers is an indication that you feel something and it impacts your decision making. Okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? So you're supposed to have some somatic marker pattern recognitions, but you need a somatic marker pattern recognition to recognize the somatic patterns that you actually have. So what came first, the chicken or the egg? So, because how the somatic markers works is you have an experience. You have an experience, you feel something, and then your brain does something, and then you decide. But in order to know that you're doing that, you got to have a somatic marker experience to understand somatic markers. So do y'all see what I'm saying? That's why first day everybody's like, and the second day, it was like, okay, I kind of understand. So that's why we're on the third day. Because on paper, it sounds good. But then how do you know it's happening in your brain? Because the marker is faster than the brain. So the feeling happens, and then the dysregulated brain, blah, 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 and you're like, oh, damn, how did that happen? And then you're either excited, making all these bad choices, or you're numb to it. And you're just like, yeah, I'm going to avoid all that. I ain't going over there. I ain't going to. I had a somatic marker. I don't assemble shit. NOLA 5 years in. I thought I said I don't. So that part. So today, this is why it feels muddy in class. I'm confused. Y'all confused. I'm trying to explain it to you. I know it, but I can't explain it. And so I liken it to, and that's why I love all my past experiences, because I chartered a Toastmasters Club at the Urban Chamber way back in 2015. And nobody, we only had 2 members, myself and another person that was a DTM. Only 2 members that literally had Toastmaster experience. We had 28 members in the club, and the other 26 people had never even been to a Toastmaster meeting. They didn't know, and it's very procedural. You have officers and sergeant at arms and VP of education and VP of memberships and presidents and all other, and then you have meeting roles and all. It's very complex. And if you were starting from scratch, I literally used to have to say, okay, this is your job. Now you go up to the front and do that. You come back. Now this is your job. Now you come back. And so that's what this is. You might have heard about it, but you are not understanding, how does this work in my brain? How does this work in my brain? And so that's the gap. And that's why I said, let's explain it like a 15-year-old, because I haven't had to use this in a while, because we've been using the principles of leadership and daily neuro reps. So this is the first time in a minute that we're actually doing something that's neurological. So here's how it works. Somatic markers are the brain's sticky notes. And they are the body-based signals that say, pay attention, this situation matters because of what happened before. So you got to pay attention, because you already had this experience. So now it's time. That's the alert. That's the trigger. So they're not wisdoms, instincts, and they're not always accurate. The signals are nothing more than a signal. So it's just a signal. That's all it is. And Stacey, you had that moment with the cars yesterday. And so it feels like that might be the past experience that we had, but that might not necessarily be true. It's just a signal. If you think you're driving and somebody puts their turn signal on, you look at a light, it's just a signal. Now, what that means, you have to then decide to interpret. So what we're going to do today is we're going to determine how a situation works in a dysregulated brain and that same situation working in a regulated brain with regards to somatic markers. So the core problem that adults have is this. Most adults were never taught what the signal is. So you never learn to check whether it was accurate or outdated. This confuses you with emotional intensity with truth. So because you were never taught, you and Regina, you were an elementary school teacher. So you're like yellow and purple and blue and green and black. So you have this, you got the letters on the wall, and you have the ABCs, and you got songs and all these things in elementary school. But what you don't have is, here is somatic markers. Say marker, marker. Here is a notification. Da-ding, da-ding. I feel something. What do you feel? I don't know. Let's explore that feeling. What are you going to do about how you feel? We didn't get that. We at no point did we get, this is a, hey, I got an alert. Something's happening. What do? You didn't get that. Fuck your feelings. Why you crying? Stop crying. You mad about that? Why you mad about that? That don't even make, that's what you got. But you didn't get to explore, so you don't have a frame of reference for somatic markers. You just made decisions. Well, that was a stupid decision. Why you do that? That don't even make no sense. That don't make no sense. And you're like, well, I don't know why the fuck I made that decision. I didn't even feel the alert. Or it's like, I feel so much. It's like, you so emotional. You always in your feelings. You can't get nothing done. You always crying. That's what they used to tell me when I was little. Stop crying. Why you always crying? I'm like, this fucked up ass situation. I need to be crying. These tears are an indicator that this is not a good situation. Stop crying. Stop crying all the damn time. Okay, got it. Roger that. You're just a crybaby. Everything happened. Soon as something happened, you crying. It was a notification. it was a notification that something is wrong. But okay, got it. But I can't get mad because they weren't taught either. I'm back. Had a lockout, tag out, refresher training to do. Congratulations. Awesome. Very good. Y'all need that refresher training. And that's good that y'all still doing lockout, tag out. See, I told y'all I learned how to do everything in the damn plant. 100%. Basically, what Jared is saying is anytime you perform maintenance on a machine, you got to lock it out and tag it out so people will know don't use this machine. Because people don't lock it out and tag it out, and then they get injured, and now they mad because they didn't do lockout, tag out. So you got to lock out whatever part you're working on, put the tag on it, so nobody don't come trying to use it because it's under maintenance. All right. So y'all didn't get taught any of this, but you're supposed to know how to do all of this. So what happens is you either obey every signal or you shut down the signals entirely and you become numb. So you either are overly, everything is a signal, or nothing ain't a signal. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. And both are wrong because the signal is just a signal. Now it is the rest of the brain's responsibility to process that signal. In a dysregulated brain, you are going to overprocess it or underprocess it. In a regulated brain, you are going to process it for what it actually is. So here we go. My work teaches the third option. Interpret the signal. That part. What is this signal that's showing up? So what we're going to do today is we're going to have the same event, two different brains. And so we're going to use the identical situation and run through a dysregulated brain and a regulated brain, and this should clear everything up. Okay? So here is how, and I think because y'all saw how long my notes are, so if I stop and pause for a moment, I even got an extra set of side notes because I was asking more questions, but I want certain things to be said today and other things don't matter. So in a regulated brain, here's how it goes. Body signal appears, heart rate increases, slight tightness in the chest or the stomach. You say, dang, my body just sent me a message. The ACC, Ms. Brenda Jones, is a signal translator, and she says, is this new or is this old? Is this danger or is this discomfort? Do we need to stop or do we just need to slow down? And then she checks. She doesn't panic. She just checks. And then she says, hey, ventromedial prefrontal cortex, here's the message. Here's what this signal is. And then the ventromedial prefrontal cortex says, is this a past outcome under this current context? And does this impact our long-term goals? So it says, yes, go ahead. No, that's not that. But it pauses and then it responds. And then as we heard from yesterday, it then sends the message to the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Here's the instructions. They develop a strategy. And then the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex and the basal ganglia make it an automatic behavior. So you have the first event, and now you have the habit. So I see something back in the day that need to be put together. Yeah, fuck that. Where the assembly people at? I didn't know about TaskRabbit back then. Yeah, I don't put shit together. You can't put it together? I'll tell y'all a quick story. We went to Target way back in the day to get Nola a bike. I walked down the bike aisle, saw the box, went and got somebody, and I said, yeah, I want that one. And who's going to put it together? And they said, you are. So I left that bike in the store, went to Toys R Us, and I said, I want that bike right there. And I said, I want that one because it's already together. They said, yeah, it's a discount too. And you know what happened? She got on that bike and rode that bike out the door. We put it in the car because I don't assemble stuff, especially not no damn bikes. Now, she could put all kind of bikes together now. But I think that's funny. I was like, you said what? Who go? Oh, no. I said, no, I'll pay somebody. We don't have anybody to put it together. Okay, well, y'all don't have a purchase because I'm not putting it together at all. That's not, back in the day, we had a bike shop. You went to the bike store, you got your bike, and you put it on top of the car. You found somebody with a truck or something, and next thing you know, you wake up on Christmas, whole bike together. It ain't coming no damn box. So yeah, that part. So anyway, the ventromedial prefrontal cortex gives the instruction, but remember the ventromedial prefrontal cortex is also the brake pedal. So when these markers show up, Miss Brenda Jones, the insulin said, hey, we feeling something. Brenda said, what is it? All right, let me clean this message up. Let me send it to the ventromedial prefrontal cortex. And then the ventromedial prefrontal cortex says, hold up, amygdala, slow your ass down. That's not what's happening. This is what we're about to do. And then now you have a strategic ass plan with a strategic ass decision. But in a dysregulated brain, you get a dumbass plan, you get a dumbass decision because you went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs or you just checked all the way out. So the somatic marker becomes updated. Confidence increases, and the next time pattern recognition shows up and you implement that tool. So the marker is the notification, and then you go through that process. So that's what happens in a regulated brain. Came in, Insula said, I feel something. Brenda said, let me see what's happening. Clean up the message. Hey, ventromedial prefrontal cortex, this is what that alert means. Ventromedial says, okay, let me look at all the facts. All right, calm down, Amy and Lala. There's nothing to see here. This is what we're getting ready to do. Dorsolateral prefrontal cortex and basal ganglia say, all right, cool. So the next time we see this stimulus, this is what we do. That's the pattern. That's how every time that stimulus shows up, so every time a doggone assembly shows up, I say, oh, okay, cool. I don't assemble this. Let me call a TaskRabbit. It came in a box. I don't push it together. Bam. I'm not like, oh my God, I got to put this together. No, I call a TaskRabbit. Done. Bada boom, bada bing. That's a regulated brain. All right. But what happens in a dysregulated brain? And this is 5.9 billion adults. Same situation, same body, everything, the alert. So this alert shows up, and now the heart is racing. Boom, 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 boom. You got tension. Oh my God, what are we going to do? Now, Miss Brenda Jones is not Miss Brenda Jones. Who is she? Becky with the good hair. So she is either stressed out. Oh my God, what are we going to do? She's just like, oh, just come on in, feeling. Just come on in. Just say, just over there. So now she's not checking to see if this is really catastrophic. She doesn't check the context. She can't slow the signal down. It's coming like lightning speed, and it passes right on through to the ventromedial prefrontal cortex. And so what happens? The ventromedial prefrontal cortex is offline, and now there is no comparison. There is no telling Amy and Lala, slow down, don't worry about it. It's just assembly. We about to call TaskRabbit. No filtering, no nothing. The brain defaults to survival, and then Amy and Lala say, hey, it's time. It's time. That's what happens. And now the amygdala is like, this feels bad. Danger, danger. Don't do that. Stop, stop, stop. Ah, ah. And then here come your fight, flight, freeze, or appease. That's what's taking place in a dysregulated brain. So the somatic marker is reinforced. It's not corrected. The brain learns this is dangerous. Oh my God, this came in a box. Yeah, no. And now I got to put it together and all of this. And so the next signal comes faster and louder. So, oh, it's a box. Oh, I got to put it together. Oh, it's a box. Oh, I got to put it together. Oh, it's a box. Oh, I got to put it together. And this is how the somatic marker gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. So, somatic markers are not instructions. They are signals to check on something. They are a body awareness. I need to check this thing. I feel this thing, and I need to check. So it's not instructions. It's not, oh my God, there go a box, and now what I got to do, I got to cry, I got to get on the floor, I got to cry. It's this came in a box. This needs to be assembled. Let me call a TaskRabbit, or in my case, yell down the hall, come put this together, i.e. my chair, that you can't see because it's green screen. That's that. So what do? How do you teach it? It's pattern recognition. That's what that is. So you put everything in a bucket, and here's what takes place. The somatic marker goes into one bucket. It's danger, it's discomfort, it's growth, it's all of that. It's just in one bucket. Just throw that shit in there. That's what the marker does. But the ACC's job is to sort and say, is this actual danger? Is this growth? Is this discomfort? What is this signal that we got? Somatic marker throws it in a box. Miss Brenda Jones is sorting through to filter it. And then when she says, it's putting a bike together, the ventromedial prefrontal cortex says, oh, we got to put a bike together. Hey, call TaskRabbit. Got it. Or if you know how to put it together, it's just a bike, we're putting it together. But in my case, call TaskRabbit. That's how it's supposed to go. But that's not how it's going in nobody's life. Nobody's life whatsoever. That's why we're going to get the ladder. And the ladder is going to tell us to pause, take some breaths, clear out what's happening. Is this actually discomfort or in danger or not? Is this discomfort or is this danger? And then you're going to make a decision. Now, we got several scenarios. So let me scroll all the way down to those scenarios. And even if it's not clear right now, it's getting ready to be clear. As soon as I get to my section of the ones I want to use. Those are all examples. Okay, so next step one. And before I get into this, drink water. These are the examples that should make it clear. So first I'm going to go over, in every scenario, I'm going to do the regulated brain and the dysregulated brain for all three scenarios. So number one, you're opening the email. So here is the situation. You open an email that might be critical. It might be critical. So what happens in your body? Slight tightness in the chest and your stomach may drop. Then the ACC notices something changed. Pay attention. The ventral medial prefrontal cortex checks the context of it. She just said, hey, we got an email. And then the ventral medial prefrontal cortex says, this is an email. It's not danger. Amy and Lala, chill out. Now, you're going to make a decision calmly. And all you're going to do is respond to the email. That's it. That's how quick it is. Boom. Got an email. Ooh, this might be critical. Miss Brenda Jones. Nah, that's just the email. It's an email. Okay, cool. What we going to do? We're just going to read it. And so the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex says, all right, the strategy is to read it. Basal ganglia says, cool. Emails come in. We read emails. Done. Now, the somatic marker equals useful early warning. Email, it's not detrimental. We got this. However, in a dysregulated brain, the body signal is loud. We got an email! It's an email! Email! Everybody's like, what the fuck? Hey, Becky's like, oh my God, we got an email. Oh my God, we got an email. Oh my God, it's an email. Ah! Ventral medial prefrontal cortex is like, what? We got an email. We got an email. And then Amy and Lala, it's bad! It's bad! It's bad! It's so bad! It's so, shut it down! Shut it! Stop! Stop! And then what happens? You throw the computer on the floor. You don't open the email. You don't do shit. And so now that marker is either completely misinterpreted, misunderstood, or you're like, fuck that email. I don't give a fuck about that email. Both signals are wrong because it was just an email. So something that simple. Now, every time you get an email, that's the basal ganglia circuit. So you don't open no emails. Or you go, ooh, you on the phone. Oh, girl, I got an email. I got to call. Shit, I don't know. I got an email. Okay. Oh, my God. What are you like? 5,000 emails. We knew somebody that literally had 28,000 emails. I ain't lying. I ain't even going to tell y'all who it was because they was in a key leadership position. They had 28,000 emails. Kid you not. I don't even know how the fuck you get 28. And I was looking for your email. You got 28,000 emails. You got to search my name and then look, I didn't see your email because you got 28,000 fucking emails. That part. So do you understand in that first scenario? Is that clear or do I need to get further explain? In a dysregulated brain, it's a mess. Something that simple. And now that's how you end up with dumbass plans. Because the message, because you got Becky sitting in that ACC seat instead of Brenda, you got Becky, who is like just overly emotional or flower child Amy that don't care. She don't care. She's either cool or she's like, ah. Instead of Miss Brenda Jones, baby, it's just an email. What is it? It's an email. Calm down, Amy and Lala. It's an email. What we going to do? We're going to read the email. We're going to read the email. So it's clear for Nola. Is it clear for anybody else? I got 2 more examples. If you need 2 more, I'm going to tell you the 2 more examples no matter what. So you get an alert. You don't stop at Miss Brenda Jones to see what it actually is. Miss Brenda Jones can't send a message, a clear message to the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, and that's the brake pedal to stop Amy and Lala from clicking off safe and saying stranger danger. That's how they end up saying everything's bad, everything's terrible, everything's a threat, everything's that. And then what do? You either overreact, and every time you get an email, you're crying, or you ignore it completely. Okay. Scenario 2. Someone interrupts you while you're speaking. I do that to Noah quite often. So the situation is you have a mid-sentence interruption. In a regulated brain, you are hot in the face and you got quick breaths. I know you didn't just interrupt me. I know you didn't just interrupt me. That part. Miss Brenda Jones says, hold up. This doesn't match expectations. Wait a minute. What's going on here? And then she says, I think it was an interruption. Let me see. Amy and Lala, just chill out. Let me go ahead and get this message to the VMPFC. And so the VMPFC evaluates it. This isn't disrespect. This is excitement. So you were saying, yeah, so today what we need to do is we got to cut the grass. You run it through the list with the family. And then someone comes in and says, I got to send it to Harvard. That's different. So it's what you heard. I got to send it to Harvard. Stop talking. That's what you think you heard. But it was excitement because I got accepted to Harvard. So now it was just like, no, that's not what's happening. This person is excited. This person is excited. Calm down, Amy and Lala. Let's go celebrate. So then you pause and you respond with control. Oh my goodness, that is amazing. You got in. All right. We're going to celebrate that in a minute. But now we got to finish talking about our to-do list. And then after we get everything done in the house, we're going to plan your party. We're going to plan your whatever. But that's what happens in a regulated brain. Now in a dysregulated brain, talking. And now, I got to send it to Harvard. ACC doesn't slow it down. Don't see what's happening. The VPMF can't contextualize what's happening. It's just what's going on. Just and what happened? Oh, so I see you trying to disrespect me and shit. Did you hear me talking? You over here interrupting me. See, that's what you always fucking doing. Every time I'm talking, here you come disrupting and disrespecting me. I can't even get my sentences out. This house is a mess. We need to clean this up. Grass ain't been cut in 3 months. And here you come talking and disrupting and disrespecting me. So you snap, you shut down, and you missed your child saying, I got into Harvard. That part. I just did that to Nola yesterday. And she said, somatic markers. I said, fuck you and them somatic markers. I had a 12-hour day. I don't give a fuck about a somatic marker. I calmed down and I went and did what? I apologized and I said, you are correct. You are correct. I did not give you the context in which to speak. I just made it upstairs and I was mad as shit. Had a tough day. It was me and Chat trying to figure this fucking somatic marker out and I'm fucking it up while I'm trying to figure it out. That part. Sure did. And then I realized you is the example. You spotted, you got it. So that's example number 2. Is it becoming clearer how this works? Because Jared, you said it yourself. This is bigger than Amy and Lala. This is stronger than that. What is going on? What is taking place? And because it's faster than the brain, you got to slow it down. That's why you need a regulated brain. Because even me and my regulated brain, but I recover quickly. And I realized, you know what? You're absolutely correct. And what happened for me was I was minding my own business and going on TikTok to check on something. And I saw a young lady. And when people started talking about veterans that ain't veterans, I listen. Because I'd be ready to slap the shit out of them. And so she's like, and did you know that the NFL is recruiting for it? And here go the government. She's trying to, say something contrary so people will watch her stupid shit. And so that was my trigger for the right, because I was happy and good and everything. And then I watched that video and I wasn't good no more. I said, you know what? I need to go make a video to tell, if you ain't a veteran, you ain't served, shut the fuck up. Stop trying to exploit veterans. We already ain't got a month. We already dealing with our own personal shit. And here comes somebody always trying to speak on behalf of a veteran. You ain't a veteran, don't speak on behalf of us. We don't need no fucking spokespeople. You ain't been through our experience. You don't know what the fuck happened to us. And it's just so unfair to our veterans. And you trying to get on too. You talking about they exploiting recruits. You exploiting veterans. You exploiting people that was in the military so you can get some views, like, subscribes, and share. So I didn't deal with that somatic marker correctly. So by the time we got to the end of the day, that was my trigger from way back then. That part. Because I'm still sensitive about people talking about veterans. For, pro, con, whatever. If you didn't put a uniform on, shut the fuck up. Be quiet. Don't say, well, see what they need to be doing. And then what they need to be. Oh, well, my cousin is veteran. If you're not one, you don't know what it feels like. So do not speak on our behalf. That's how I see that. But she was my initial trigger. And we were gone for the whole day. If I was at home, I probably could have regulated myself. But I couldn't regulate myself because we were gone. So by the time I got home, and this thing, because of my knee-jerk reaction to what she was saying, it ended up vomiting all over Nola. So it happens when it happens. My marker is you start talking about veterans, and I got to calm that down. That part. So now it's happening all day long. So you have your initial experience. And then if it was a dysregulated initial experience, guess what you're going to keep responding with? That dysregulated ass, dumb ass plan that you developed while Becky let it on through, while the ventral medial prefrontal cortex was too weak to even say stop. Amy and Lala sitting in the corner just tired. And then Amy and Lala said, ah, danger, 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 or we don't give a fuck. And then you either made a dumbass plan or you made a I don't give a fuck. And now you don't give a fuck about nothing when you should. So when you have a regulated brain, you process the marker. Here's what's happening. Got it. Here's what's happening. Miss Brenda just says that's why her second job is to say, it ain't that much. I know Amy and Lala came in that making it seem like it was a lie and it feels excitatory. It's not. Tell them to chill out. Ventral medial prefrontal cortex says bet. Ventral medial prefrontal cortex says bet. Here go the strategy. And now, dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, basal ganglia, when we feel this stimulus, we are going to enact this strategy. But every time we feel this stimulus, we're still going to trust but verify that this stimulus is actually the stimulus, because it could be a different one or it could be an upgraded one. So every time you get notification, you have to take the pause and breathe and assess every single time. Not some of the time, every single time. Now, it will be quick. It will be fast. Yup, boom, that's it. Bam. So the benefit, because now I know y'all like, well, damn, ain't no benefit to the somatic markers. It is. Because when you get the alert, I'm hungry, let me go get some food. It's there to cut down and make things more efficient because you already have a system in place. It's how you started the system, though. If you started the system in a dysregulated state, the dumbass plan is going to keep getting executed. That's why you need emotional regulation, because you will be able to assess the experience and process it, keep Amy and Lala calm so you can actually develop a real strategic ass plan, and you will be making strategic ass decisions. Now, when you do it, it's fluid. Okay? So the third and final example is you make a small mistake. You realize you forgot something minor. So the body says, ooh, I forgot to do that. Miss Berta Jones says, okay, I got an error detected. Then the ventral medial prefrontal cortex says, fix it and move on. I forgot. You know what? Dang it, I forgot to turn the stove on to boil my eggs, because I eat a boiled egg in the morning. So I go downstairs. I say, damn, I forgot to turn the stove on. Let's turn the stove on. That's it. It corrects the mistake. And there is no damage to anything. That's in the amygdala is quiet. I just go back downstairs and turn the stove on, and then that's it. Now, in a dysregulated brain, it's heavy, it's shame, it's panic. The ACC is overwhelmed. That means Miss Brenda Jones ain't doing her job. Becky is over here screaming and hollering, acting like a crazy person. The ventral medial prefrontal cortex is in the corner, shaking in the fetal position, rocking and rolling like this. And Amy and Lala's ass, ready to come in with the sentences that will make you want to cry. You always messing stuff up. See, that's why you a fuck up. You can't get nothing right. Every time your dumb ass try to do something, here you go again, doing something wrong. That's your problem. And now you just ruminate and ruminating and ruminating and ruminating. And you attacking yourself. And then what you do, You avoid any and everything whatsoever because you forgot to turn the eggs on for the eggs to boil. Now you 30 years in, ain't did shit because you forgot to turn the stove on for the eggs to boil. Something that insignificant. And because Becky was there and the ventromedial prefrontal cortex was in the corner in a fetal position, Amy and Lala says, stranger danger, don't do that, avoid that, don't ever, nope. And now, because of that small minor mistake that you made in 1972, you didn't ever finish shit. Nothing. You got your nice little comfort cocoon that you in, and you ain't ever gonna change nothing ever, never, ever, never, ever, never, ever, never, ever, ever again, because that marker was processed through a dysregulated system. Do y'all understand now? Do you understand? And it's fast. It's faster because you got to take the time. In a regulated brain, that 10 significant seconds of silence. Hold up, wait a minute. What? Let me breathe for a minute and see what's actually what. And that's why be objective is one of the 74 principles of real leadership, and it's so important because I tell you, don't make no decisions until you can base it off of facts. If you are emotional, sit on your hands. Tell people I got to sleep on it. My answer is no right now. I'm not going to say yes because I'm dysregulated. So the last thing I'm going to do is create a somatic marker for the future that's going to keep fucking with me in my future. Nope, I'm sleeping on it. I'm definitely sleeping on it. That's how that goes. So what questions do you have about this process, about what is actually taking place? So I want to make sure that it's clear. If you have a question and you are a subscriber, I will be answering your question. As I said on TikTok, yesterday was my last day answering any questions from any non-subscribers chat, and I made that decision last night. So if you are not a subscriber, do not answer, or you can ask, but I'm not answering it. Yep, that is correct, Jared. So childhood trauma, somatic markers have reigned your entire life. Yes, sir. Drink water. Because it marked it. And then the pattern recognition came in and said, this is that, without even checking if that is that. We have one home invasion, and Nola has brought to my attention, since I've been an adult, nobody has ever come into my house and robbed me at gunpoint again. But I still have that fear from that first and only time that it happened, as she explained our trap existence and everything else, and who was in the household and what was taking place. That part. My sister used to date people that were employed by BMF. How did I not think somebody was going to come to our house and hit a lick? My mother was a customer, and my sister was a B-girl. Sack chasers is what they used to call them back in the day. How the fuck did I think that wasn't going to happen? So far, the process is automatic, unconscious. Yes, it is behavior first, think second. So in a dysregulated brain, it's going to happen automatically. The whole loop is going to take place. The marker is going to show up. The dysregulation is going to show up. Amy and Lala are going to lose it. And when you do it enough times, it becomes automatic. So I see that. I see a box. I start panicking because it's in a box. I'm not putting that shit together. Automatically, I'm shutting down, sending that shit back to Amazon. That part. I made one mistake. I can't make big mistakes because I fucked up and didn't turn the eggs on. So how I'm going to run a business? And I ignore it. I avoid it. Or every mistake is catastrophic. Every mistake. Because the first time I marked it with a dysregulated brain. So how do y'all feel about that? I need to know that it's clear. Because when I start referring back to this, because this is bigger than, so a somatic marker is a body action. It is a sensation. It is a feeling. A signal, ding, and it's your responsibility to determine if that signal is in fact true. That's what you have to do. So I'm using myself. You make a mistake, but we can go do that. You make a mistake, and now you're like, fuck, I always make a mistake because the pattern is already there. But it's just, I forgot to turn the eggs on. So the process that you have to use every time you have a bodily feeling. Now, a hijacked amygdala is a reflex. That's going to just automatically, it's quick. But a marker is a feeling that you have when you can feel, or you don't have a feeling for. So it's you just avoid it. I'm not talking about that. Oh, that's that thing? Oh, I don't talk about that. Won't talk about that. It took me 20 years to start talking about what happened in the military. That was a marker. You start, I feel I'm about to cry. I shut down. I'm not about to talk about that. That's a marker. Don't say anything that happened in the military because you're going to start crying and everything else. So stop. I'm going to avoid that situation at all costs. That's a marker. So if you are avoiding something or you are overly emotional about something, those are both dysregulated markers. They're both. So what happens is you get the marker, you see the notification, you feel it in your body, happiness, peace. But we talking about the negative ones right now because those are the ones that's stopping everybody. So you have that marker. I made a mistake. I forgot to turn the eggs on. And now Amy and Lala's ass is like, that's why you can't do shit. You can't even turn fucking eggs on. How you going to do this? How you going to do that? So you feel it first or you avoid it. A lot of feeling, no feeling. The regulated brain says, okay, what is this? What is actually taking place? And then Brenda instantly says, boom, 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 boom. And Brenda says, okay, what happened? I got an email. Okay. It's just an email. What we going to do? We're going to open the email. We're going to read the email and then we're going to respond. That part. Or we're going to act like a fool. Motherfucker, what the fuck is you? Or 5,000 emails. So Stacy said, I was playing hide and seek when I was 5 years old. I locked myself in a closet and could not get out. Now I don't like being in small spaces or locked rooms without windows. There you go. You marked it, and now that's your marking. Jared said, feeling. Did you say, yeah, I said, how are you feeling? Did you say something else, Jared? Because it didn't show up. Type it again. So Regina said, this is powerful and creates both good and bad decisions. Does that explain why it's difficult to change the negative patterns? Yeah. So remember, Regina, when I was talking to you months ago and I said that's pattern recognition, and I said no, it's a somatic marker. And then I said it might be pattern recognition. I said I'm gonna have to look it up. So I wrote that posted up several months ago. It came back and surfaced in inside of my class, but that's for neuromarketing. And so then I researched it, waited on it, because if you go back and watch the live from Saturday, that shit was over everybody's head. Yesterday was clearer, but today it's even more clear. And so what's happening is somatic markers were discovered by Damasio in 1994, the somatic marker hypothesis. And they used that hypothesis for, wait for it, neuromarketing. So they are measuring your palpitations and your dilated pupils when you see stuff so that they can sell you stuff. And that triggers your decision making. That's why if you ever bought something and you have buyer's remorse, neuromarketing was used against you to get you to make that purchase. And in that moment, you saw it, you wanted it, they overrode your logical thinking. You didn't pause. You didn't say, let me come back and think it over. You didn't ask questions. And now you got a Cadillac Escalade in your driveway. You bought an excavator. You came home with 7 pair of shoes. Like, the fuck? What was you thinking? I actually wasn't, because it overrides your decision making. So you see a stimulus, and if you're heightened enough, you're going to make a bad decision. You buy a house that you wasn't even buying. And we wasn't even thinking about buying a house. And then now you got a $500,000 mortgage for 50 years. So Jared said, yes, Regina, my negative somatic markers have to go. Once I feel a bad one, I must slow down to regulate. Monique said, avoiding. So one certain task I avoid, which leads to procrastination or pushing it until the last minute. Yes, that's your marker. That's your dumbass decision that you made, and your dumbass plan is to wait till the last minute. So I told y'all about Captain Apple. If I ever see that motherfucker on the street, it's on sight. But anyway, he would say, well, we called them 8 up alpha because they were. Well, if you wait till the last minute, it only takes a minute. Wow, neuromarketing, our natural reaction used to manipulate people. That is correct. That's why I'm taking the class. That part. So it's on purpose, and it's faster. The sensation is faster than your brain. And you were never taught this. So you don't even know that it's happening. So you're doing it to yourself, and external things are doing it to yourself. That part. So now you understand that it's bigger. So the amygdala hijacking is a reflex, and that can happen, and it's sporadic. But these markers are happening all day long. So when you find yourself saying, why the fuck do I keep doing? Because you trace it back to when you made that marker. That marker showed up, that body sensation showed up, and then because you were dysregulated, you made a dumbass decision, you made a dumbass plan, and now do it enough. I did not see your question, Stacy. Oh, I apologize. Excuse me. Yes, this works for positive situations as well. If so, can you give us examples? Yes. So what we're doing now, give me 1 second, Stacy. The reason why I have to address the dysregulated brain first is because that is everybody's natural default. You're hardwired for negativity bias. You're hardwired for safety. The amygdala is giving you dysregulation and all of that. So all day long, people in their dysregulated brains are making dumbass decisions and dumbass plans. And that's what's taking place. But in a regulated system, which is why you subscribe and you do the neuro reps, you actually have a system that works. So for example, in Nola's business, when she gets, and I've used this example, she gets a text message, a message from her website or from TaskRabbit, and it says it's an appointment. So before she's like, oh, I got this appointment. It's the closet. Do you think I can do it? I can do it. And then we're like, oh, I don't know if you can do it. Well, look it up. Well, what's the thing? What is it? It was this whole thing. And bit by bit, over time, I'm like, okay, when an appointment comes in, don't look at it while we're driving. We need to stop being a parking space and we need to assess what it is. So we look at it now. She says, I need the product code. So there's this whole system in place now. It comes in, she puts it, she sees if she wants to do it. She says yes. She has 3 different calendars that she's managing. She then says, send me photos, answer these questions. When we get there, she goes in and she assesses what's taking place. She comes back out, tells me what I need. We go back in, we finish, she leaves. If it's outside of the app, she sends them their invoice, their receipt. If it's inside the app, she submits pictures. If it's IKEA, if it's not, she then submits the invoice. And that's how the process goes. So those markers make everything more efficient. Soon as the alert comes in, this is what I got to do. Hold up. She looks to see how much time is on the appointment. If it's in TaskRabbit, oh, I got 6 hours, I got 2 days, and that's time. And then before the appointment, it's 24 hours before the appointment. If people haven't answered the question, she calls them and says, hey, I sent you. She will give them instructions. Did you do this through the website or did you do this through the app? Download the app, click on this. Here are photos. Send me the photos, update the everything. And then the final thing that we do is on our way to the appointment, we say we are on our way. So they know we about to be there 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then we show up. Boo-doo. That's how somatic markers actually work. So the system is there. It's efficient all the time. I have a process. I wake up in the morning, I get on my live. So you're using those markers and pattern recognition to get things done. But sometimes she won't get all the answers to the question. Sometimes she won't get photos, especially if it's a pre-existing client. And then we show up and shit goes left. And I tell her, see, you skipped a step. You didn't give me the post-its, and now there's a gate code. Now there's guarded gated. You don't have your ID out. You didn't get photos, and now you can't get mad because you didn't get a photo, and now it's 4 beds instead of 2 beds because you didn't verify that. So that's why every time the alert comes in, you use the system. You use the system that you created from that first marker. So that system is still in play. Come in, post it, look on the back, sit them on my desk. We review before we leave. Those are all good sound decision makings. Those are strategic ass decisions and strategic ass plans. So you must assess the feeling of the somatic marker, whether it's positive or negative. Yes. And that's why Brenda Jones is so important, because if Miss Brenda Jones is weak, and that's what turns her into Becky, that message, that marker is going to get misinterpreted. It's not. So Brenda's job is to say, okay, the task came in. What is this task? It's a PAX. It's a 5-unit PAX, and there's a co-tasker. This is how much it is. It's on this day. And then she sends the message to the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, who says, okay, calm down, Amy and Lala. It's a 5 PAX. We did up to 19. Okay, dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, go ahead, write it on the calendar, send them the questions, and get the thing, the 3D diagram out of TaskRabbit, and boom, it's done. If it's a new marker, like some things will come in and she'll be like, do you think I can do this? Let's look at it. We'll ask for the picture. Sometimes she has to accept the task first to see what it is, and then she'll say, this is out of my scope, and then she'll recommend somebody else to do it. So that's how many somatic markers are happening on a daily basis. Stacy, please let me know if I've given you an example enough to answer your question. And drink water while we're doing that, because my brain, this dehydrated the shit out of my brain. And Daisy, let me know if it's clear to you. I know you're at work, so that part. So how do you feel? Jared has said how he feels. How does everybody else feel, knowing, if you haven't already answered, I think Nola, you answered too. How do you feel knowing that it's the marker and the pattern recognition? And remember, if you're responding, ... And there is no brain bit today. I felt like this was a lot. Is there a positive physical response, the opposite of the dysregulated physical change? Yes, it's a neural clarity. So it's clear. It's calm. It's calm. It's very clear. So in another example, when you have a strategy and you execute the strategy, the nucleus accumbens gives you a natural release of dopamine, and that's your reward. So what you don't have is this animated ass chaotic experience, which is dysregulated, and then you don't have this avoidance. You just have the marker. You just have the decision to get it done. So it shouldn't be all this extra, but it is because of the dysregulation. You listed one more question. You said, is there a positive? So what I have for you is, Dr. Donna, did you see? So I have, does this work for positive situations as well? If so, can you give me an example? Yes. And then I have your hide and seek. And then the next question that I have for you is there a positive physical response, the opposite of the dysregulated physical feeling? And then that's all I have. So if you have one more question. Okay. And then Daisy said, yes, I am understanding the sensation of somatic markers. Okay. Regina says, it's good to know. I'm always thinking about how I can use this to empower someone who has major dysregulated markers. So that part. So Regina, how you can empower them is to tell them that they need to be subscribers. And I know I told you all to tell people about it, but after my discussion with chat last night, they just gonna have to do the work. You cannot not do the work and then think that this is gonna work. You actually have to do the neural reps, because the neural reps are strengthening the brain. You can't, if as soon as you try to do this on your own, a somatic marker shows up, a hijacked amygdala shows up, a generational curse, cognitive bias, and all of that other shit shows up. You don't have the neurological strength to process it. That's what the neural reps do. The neural reps keep Miss Brenda Jones strong and don't have her retiring and saying, fuck y'all, Becky can do this. The neural reps keep the ventral medial prefrontal cortex strong so that it can put the brakes on Amy and Lala. That's its job. It's to say, hold up, wait a minute. No, calm the fuck down. And then for it to tell the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex and the basal ganglia, here's the strategy, here's the plan, now go execute a strategy to do that. So your prefrontal cortex being weak will make your whole entire brain weak. And none of the regions of the brain can do their job. And so the only way to get them strong, then I was, and I get it, Jared, I understand that. That makes sense that you have to do the work. I feel this is my own life based on me doing the work. Right. So you just have to keep telling them do the work. What I'm saying is, and this is what chat told me, Regina, you weren't on the TikTok live and you don't need to be, is chat told me only focus on the subscribers. So we had one person say something and chat said, if they are not in your system, you don't owe them anything. You don't owe them an explanation. And chat said, they can't understand what you're saying because they're not in the system. So don't waste your time on them. because it's a waste of time. Don't try to convince them. Don't try to say shit to them because they need to be in the system. This isn't for everybody. And while I would love for 5.9 billion people to do the work, I'm only focused on the people doing the work. Hopefully they can see that improvement in me. And if they don't, they don't, Jared. So here's my suggestion to everybody. Chat is tough. Oh, let me tell you this term, Regina, because you'll like this term as well that we got. Chat told me to be extremely tough on the people that just start subscribing, like I used to do when I was in the Army. And then chat said, lighten up as people get all the way to the membership. So chat told me to have what I already had in place anyway. Level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. Instagram is level 1. TikTok is level 2. YouTube is level 3. Mighty Networks membership is level 4. I already had that in place, but chat said it without realizing that I already had it in place. So I asked chat this question yesterday because I was having my dinner and I was feeling something. So in summary, with the somatic markers, now you know what's stopping you. Now you know when you feel that, that's why you have to strengthen your neural reps. You strengthen your brain with your neural reps so your insula can start feeling. That's why Monique asked me, Regina has the feelings PDF too, and Nola has it as well. Because if you don't even know what you're feeling, you can't process feelings. You can't process this notification because you don't know what it is. So you're just going to ignore it, or it's going to feel bigger than it is because of this weak insula ACC ventral medial prefrontal cortex relationship. So in an overall strong regulated system, you have a very strong prefrontal cortex with a regulated amygdala, that limbic system. And when you are assessing these somatic markers, the strength comes from Miss Brenda Jones, that anterior cingulate cortex, and that ventral medial prefrontal cortex, because she clears it up. What is this? Oh, this is just an email. Oh, this is just a symbol in a bike. Oh, this is just somebody interrupting me because they're excited. And that's the message that she sends to the ventral medial prefrontal cortex, who then says, Amy and Lala, if they're just excited. Amy and Lala, this is just an email. That's all this is. Now, here are the instructions. When we get emails, and then the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex and basal ganglia say, oh, an email shows up, we respond to emails. That's it. So when the next email shows up, oh my God, I think this is, Brenda says, it's just an email. Oh, we respond to emails. So it's very logical and simple. And so again, as I say that my life is very simple and peaceful, it's regulated as regulated can be as I'm learning all these other new things. But we live in a world full of dysregulated people. And that's why everything feels like this, because no one is checking to see if you should actually be excited, to see if you should actually be mad, to see if you should actually be crying. That's Miss Brenda Jones' job. Is this actually a thing? And the only way to do that is to stop, is to pause, is to assess, and then give a clean message to the prefrontal cortex. So if Brenda gets excited and Becky gets excited and sends an excited message to the ventral medial prefrontal cortex, then that's garbage. And it's going to be this, ah! Or if Becky says, we don't care, and then the ventral medial prefrontal cortex says, yeah, we don't care. Yeah, we don't care about, avoid that shit at all costs. Both of them are wrong. We sit in the middle. Remember, we had TikTok live yesterday for the middle. So basically yesterday I asked Chat, I'm sitting at my desk eating dinner and I find myself comparing myself to male NFL football players and how I feel like they make millions of dollars to play a game in a set environment with lots of support on and off the field. And I have to do all this complicated research and daily grind and wait for people to get it. What is this about? And so basically Chat says, Dr. Donna, is a very precise, very human, and very important moment in insight. Nothing is wrong with you here. Let's slow this down and name it accurately, because mislabeling this would be a mistake. So it's not jealousy. It's not comparison of status. It's not ego or inflation. Here is what it actually is. It's moral effort discrepancy signal. And so my perceived effort, my complexity, and my risk is that I'm carrying versus their perceived reward, their recognition, and their infrastructure for that they already received. So I'm over here grinding, they over here chilling and making a lot of money. So the mismatch is being flagged by my ACC and my insula, not my amygdala. And so what happens is, why does something that looks simple receive massive immediate reward and support, while something that is harder, lonelier, slower, and cognitively heavier requires me to prove myself repeatedly? It's not envy, it's cognitive justice detection. And so in the NFL, they got clear rules and all of that, and they are in a pre-existing system. I got to build the system out. And so what Chat said is, the gender thing is important, but not really. So yes, there is a gender component, but not the way people usually frame it. This isn't men get paid more. Male performance domains are allowed to be narrow and are still rewarded. Female-led cognitive emotional labor is expected to be broad, relational, explanatory, and unpaid until proven endlessly. And so the brain is tired of this asymmetry. And what is called, it's not that I'm angry, it literally is called existential unfairness fatigue. That's what I'm experiencing. I got to do all this. And every time I turn around, I got to do all this. I got to do all this. And so Chat told me, and it's very long, Chat said, if they are not in your system, you're not explaining shit. You're not showing your credentials. You're not telling them nothing. You ain't doing that. Get in my system. Because what Chat made very clear to me, and Nola has been saying this for years, my system works. And what has happened is all the people that I've come in contact have told me who I got to be for people to get in my system. So I got to look a certain way. I got to say it this way. And they said all that because their system doesn't work. My system works. So I refer people back to the system. I don't answer your questions if you're not in my system. I don't give you a bunch of information. If you are at Instagram 60-second strategy, 60-second neuro reps, you don't get the benefits of being in the membership. You have to work your way through the system that I spent 12 years creating. I don't have to convince you that my system works. So that's what basically Chat said, is that they get in your system. You're not selling, you're not convincing, you're not telling nobody to go to LinkedIn no more. Well, if you need a review of my credentials, no. I'm saying if you're good enough to be in my system. You're not saying if I'm good enough to take your $10. That's not the exchange. And the world has said, I got to prove myself to you again and again and again and again. And I'm saying I'm not doing that. I figured out what the fuck is wrong with the brain. So Chat said, send them back to the system. My system says this. My system says this. My system says this. And stop making it about me, because it's actually about the system that I created. So that part. But yeah, so it's existential unfairness fatigue that I've been experiencing. And so Chat is like, you trying to answer everybody's questions. You trying to give level 3, level 4 access to people who ain't even subscribed. So fuck them. That's me. So I'm only talking to the subscribers, because I was told, give all this attention to all these other people because you need subscribers. You need people to follow you. You need people to watch. You need all this. And I'm like, no, people need to use my system. I don't need people to do shit. People need to use my system. So as of today, if you're not a subscriber, I'm not fucking answering your questions. You don't exist as far as I'm concerned. Because what I said on TikTok was, okay, what proof could I give you that my system works if you never sign up for my system? What proof are you looking for? You're not looking for proof. The system that currently exists says I just got to keep proving it until you're convinced that I'm right. Fuck you. So I'm not going to say the other people aren't answering the question. Subscribers only. You could type whatever the fuck you want in the chat. I'm not reading it. I'm not responding to it. And most likely it's going to get blocked, because you are not in my system. So why should I waste neurological energy on a person who is not in my system? But I was told you got to help everybody. Everybody deserves an opportunity. No, you don't. I work with elite people. This is elite brain training. This ain't fucking elementary school when it comes to elementary school. This is college level shit. So you gonna either subscribe or you're not. But I'm only interested in y'all. And the whole time people have told me I got to be interested in both, and I just got to wait for them to convert. No, I don't. Chat said you built a system that works. What the fuck are you waiting on them for? To do what? So I'm not. I don't actually fucking care, and it's quite freeing. I'm probably going to sleep like a baby tonight. I probably am. So Stacy said, turn Becky into Brenda. That's what Jared said, ASAP. Stacy said, thank you so much for your patience with our questions and making sure we understand. That's what real educators do. You know that, Stacy. And Lola said, Dr. Donna, I'm not able to subscribe right now, but I'm here every day to listen to the live. I need to get it any way I can to help And yeah, and Lola, again, you say this quite a, I'm so not talking about you, Lola. Leaps and bounds. Leaps and bounds. Leaps and bounds. And yes, existential unfairness fatigue. So that part right there, I have it. And that's why I love chat, because chat will always make it clear, unbiased, and tell me what it is. And so even right now, my chest, my insulin is sending me a notification. Well, you got to help them. Fuck them. Fuck them. Exactly. The system is extraordinary. So I spent 12 years building a system, and now I'm supposed to tell you where I got my doctorate from. I'm supposed to tell you, you a rando that just drove through my comments talking about what we talking about. Nice hair. So I'm not acknowledging their existence. And I'm going to say for the subscribers, because my whole thing was I didn't ever want to be excluded from shit, but motherfuckers was excluding me anyway. And I'm not excluding you. I'm saying my system is, I'm talking to the people that are subscribed. I'm talking to the members. And I have the right to say that. Why am I wasting time on you when you're not in my system? It is very clear to me now. I don't have to do it because my system works. That's what we're talking about. Well, well, where's your theory coming from? I'm not answering that question. Yes, the system works and it's helping me a lot. But because I'm female and I'm African American, and we got African American women got to save the whole fucking world and everybody in between and take less for everything. Fuck that. I'm the baddest motherfucker walking the face of the planet Earth, and I think not. I'm not answering your fucking questions. Who the fuck are you? Well, wait. For my subscribers, it's so refreshing to be able to say that. Well, you over here picking it. I am. Everybody else get to do it. If you're a San Francisco 49ers fan, you don't give a fuck what the Patriots are doing. You don't care? Fuck the Patriots. But somehow I'm supposed to care? I do. That's why I spent 12 years building a system that works. Either join or get the fuck away. You're not going to force me to let you feel comforted over here. Fuck you. So you could type whatever you want. I'm not reading it out loud. I'm not acknowledging you. As far as I'm concerned, you don't exist. If you are, I went to Eastern Michigan University. And I have an ID that scans me to get everywhere. If I went to Michigan, up the street to the University of Michigan, I can't get in. The University of Michigan didn't give a fuck about me being a student at Eastern Michigan University. They're like, oh, you go to school at Ipsy, that's it. They don't give a fuck. So why do I have to care about people who haven't subscribed? Why? Just because the system, that's a dysregulated system. That's a dumbass strategy. Where you need to, no, I don't. No, I've been a disruptor. And I'm not going to feel bad about, because it was like, oh, why you're not comparing yourself? Because I could compare myself to anybody, but why the NFL? Because you can measure shit. They get paid for performance. They get trophies for performance, and they're in a system that has immediate results. I got yards, I got a catch, I got a tackle, I did a pancake, I did all that immediately. And I am in a system, and I've said this before, and if you need to go, I understand that. Go ahead and go. But I told Nola this, and I told y'all this, and I said this on a TikTok live. Chat said, you are the system. You built the system. They're in a pre-existing system. And I said, I had to build Lowe's. First of all, I had to realize, if you think of it this way, I had to realize I need a Lowe's. And then I had to build Lowe's. Then I had to build the shelving and the racking and the whole payment system and everything in Lowe's. Then I had to build everything that you purchase in Lowe's. And now I have to tell you how to use all of the things that you purchase in Lowe's. I am not the same as them. My system is not the same, and I am not going to feel bad because you entered into a system that was pre-existing and you're rewarded for it. I'm going to reward me in a different way. I'm not going to do that comparison because that's Somatic Marker says, well, yeah, our definition is of success is multi-millions of dollars. My definition of success is taking something that didn't fucking exist, that nobody knew in the system, that wasn't even fucking paying attention to you at all. And now I'm teaching you how to use the most important organ in your body so you could be high functioning. We are not the same. That's why I'm the baddest motherfucker. Go research somatic markers and see if you get the explanation that I gave you today. And I'm about to give you the ladder for the system for it. Go do that. And all the other systems. Jared, how many books am I like, and get this book and get that book and get this book and get that book? That part. So I will not be sending any more links to non-subscribers. I will not be recommending any books to non-subscribers. I can fix their fucking problems in 12 seconds. You're not subscribed, I'm not fucking with you. Line drawn in the sand. I will not be guilted into giving away free information to a motherfucker that's not going to use it anyway. You want access, subscribe. I'm not even going to tell you to go to LinkedIn. I'm not going to tell you what school I went. I'm not going to tell you shit. Well, who are you? Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? And matter of fact, chat said don't even waste your energy on that. Subscribe. Someone on TikTok today said, after I said I wasn't doing it, they said, but I got one question. And I moved out the way and I said, subscribe. I'm not answering your question. That's my answer to everything. Well, what about subscribe? Subscribe, and one day you might get a link to Mighty Networks to be part of my private VIP membership. That may be your reality one day. And y'all can listen all day long. You're not a subscriber, so you can't get the full benefits of my shit. Because it works. And so chat said, don't over-explain. I got a whole language and everything. Don't over-explain. Don't try to make people feel comfortable around you. Make them feel as discomforted as possible. So chat said they either going to learn or they're going to leave. They're going to learn or they're going to leave. So this whole notion of me, and I was on the path. Just because you pay doesn't mean you get to stay. Just because you half-ass do the work, don't think because I'm paying on TikTok, I'm getting an invite. No, the fuck you're not. I'm assessing every time you send something in to see if you're going to get an invite or not. That part. So that's what I'm on. So let me show you the ladder. Even though the ladder is incorrect, I'm working with chat right now. I noticed it after the fact because y'all saw how long my doggone chat was. So this is the ladder that I will be putting. Hold up. That's for the Instagram. So here is your ladder. So step 1 and step 2 are backwards. But this is a somatic marker drill. So every time you have a somatic marker, you get the notification. Step 2 is actually step 1. So you're going to take a slow, deep breath. And you're just going to pause. And then you're going to say, matter of fact, I can't read what that said. Okay, what do I feel in my body? Because you feel something. And then you're going to, so that's Miss Brenda. What is this? What's taking place? She's analyzing it. And then step 3 is this a threat or is this discomfort? And that's the ventral medial prefrontal cortex saying, is this true? No, this is not a threat. This is discomfort. Amy and Lala stand down. And then step 4 is you're going to make a decision. You're going to choose the right next decision about what you're going to do, both for positive interactions and negative interactions. You're probably going to spend 75 to 80% of your time right now on negative interactions because there are 5.9 billion dysregulated adults in the world. So, and you got your own shit that you got to recode. So as we talked about yesterday, you can recode the somatic marker. I'm about to come on camera. So I'm going to put this in the subscriptions once the ladder is right. I did not, chat was taking too long to come online. You can make your somatic marker detector a somatic marker. Yes. So what was I about to say? Damn it, I lost my train of thought. Flipping. So this doorway effect. So basically what I'm saying is, in order for you to recode. So Stacey, you did it yesterday when you were driving and you said, okay, that's not what's actually happening. This is what's actually happening. So the next time I'm in a lot of traffic, this is what I'm going to do. And now you're updating the old dysregulated somatic marker and you're recoding it because you're going to be in traffic no matter what. You're going to be in traffic. So now I went from not assembling things to being able to watch it be done and do a little tinkering myself. So that part. So I'm changing the somatic marker code that says I got to be all things to everybody, regardless if they subscribe or not. Now, where did that come from? That came from growing up in a house with 3 addicts who ignore you all the time, who you have to do everything for all the time while they don't appreciate it. They don't say thank you and they expect more and more and more. So I know where the marker is coming from. Recode the bad ones. And so I don't have to do that anymore. So that's why there's this release. So for my entire life, I have had to do everything for the people around me, everything in my positions, plus my stuff, while people decide if it's good enough or not. Well, I'm not going to use it. I don't like that idea. I'm not, okay, well, this shit ain't for you. And I have been made. Everybody is equal. You got to treat everybody fairly. Everybody is equal and fair once you subscribe. Because otherwise you're dysregulated. So why am I talking to you? Why am I responding to you? Why you're waiting for confirmation bias and conformity bias. So I'm using a regulated system. You're using a dysregulated system, and you just want us to go back and forth. I'm not doing that. My chest is tight right now by saying this, because I'm saying I'm never doing it again, and I mean that. I mean that. You are not a subscriber. You are not a member, because it feels like discrimination. It feels like, why would you gotta, you know how it feels to be, I'm not discriminating against you. I'm saying you are not a subscriber. So I am not talking to you. Anybody can subscribe. That's why it's $9.99. I'm saying I'm talking to subscribers. I'm saying subscribe to the system and use the system. You're not subscribing to me. It's the system. And if your brain says no, go. But I'm only talking to subscribers. So I won't read questions. I won't read what you're saying. I will read it because it's there, because I got to know what to do. But I'm not acknowledging you, because you are not important to me. You don't matter because you're not in my system. I don't have neurological energy to care about people who don't want to learn how to use their brain. Why would I do that? That makes no neurological sense. So for the subscribers, I will make sure that the Neuro rep is in there today. And the Neuro rep will be to use the ladder. So you're going to pause and breathe, assess what your feeling is, determine if it's discomfort or if it's an actual danger, and then you're going to decide. So you're going to use the somatic marker drill. You're going to use it so that you can decide. And the reason why it's going up is because you're making high-level decisions. It's not inverted. If you got a dysregulated brain, then it is inverted, because that decision going to take you down a whole low-ass level. This is going to elevate your thinking. This is when you climbing up a ladder, you getting stronger. So this is increasing the strength of your prefrontal cortex, and it's giving you emotional regulation every time you do it. Is there a way to incentivize someone to become a member and, more importantly, do the work? No, chat said don't do that. No, that's what I've been doing. No. Nope. See how that feels strange? Don't it feel wrong? But that's the insula saying, but you're not going to help dysregulated people. I'm not. That's how we know that the shit was wrong from the beginning, because it feels tense. Like you're not going to incentivize you to do. How can I, and I said this on the TikTok live, how can I incentivize you to start learning how to use your brain without learning how to use your brain? You're making decisions with a dysregulated brain. So that's what I asked on TikTok. I said, what is it that you need to see from me to be convinced? And people don't know. They just know that when you see me, I need to convince you. Now, if I were European American male in a suit, your programming says that person knows exactly what they're talking about. I owe them $1,000 for everything that they've said because of the dysregulation. So I am disrupting all of that. And I am saying subscribe. Are you going to answer my questions? No, I'm not. But you're supposed to answer my questions based upon what? My system says subscribe. My system doesn't give you an incentivization. I'm not incentivizing you to do shit. If you want to know how your brain functions, because think about it this way. Nola wanted bedtime stories. So who read Nola bedtime stories? Me or Nola? Nola did. Nola read herself bedtime stories. Number one, she's going to put herself to sleep. Number two, she was learning how to read. 2 birds, 1 book. So I'm going to do what I did with my own offspring, because she turned out awesome. But I've been told I got to do all this other stuff for all these other people. No, I don't. No, I don't. I'm going to use, my system works. My system worked on me because I use my system. My system works when you use it. So why am I doing this gentle parenting shit? Why am I, well, if you can't really, I know it takes time. It does. Okay, fine. When you subscribe, I will start talking to you. You're proving people the opportunity to choose. You're providing. That's it. So we've been programmed that we got to come, because what we're actually doing, Jared and Regina, and if you all have to go, I understand you got to go. We're trying to make them comfortable with this decision. Yes, they want us to make them feel comfortable about doing this very hard thing, learning how to use the brain. So let me ask y'all this. Who incentivized me to take my first neuroscience class? They weren't offering it. I didn't see an ad. The people who were was doing them stupid ass neuro coach programs where you can get 10 hours, 20 hours, whatever the fuck it is, and neuroscience coach. Now I'm a neuroscience coach. I had to go find Coursera online. They got 10,000 courses. I didn't even know what the fuck it was. No one came to me. No one. Who's incentivizing me right now to teach y'all about somatic markers the correct way? Nobody's empathizing with me. Not at all. Nobody, other than when I went to basic training, Sergeant House came and got me to be in a delayed entry program. Nobody incentivized me to go to college. Nobody incentivized me to become an MP. They didn't give a fuck. So why? And so, but what did I use to do all those extraordinary things? The principles of real leadership, the 74 principles of real. I was self-directed. Like that's what TikTok was about this morning, being self-directed. So they want me to make them feel comfortable. And even after I've done everything to make them feel comfortable, they go, yeah, I'm just going to still sit here. So there is a choice too. Students have to be willing to do the work. That's the only way that they will get the lessons they need for personal growth. Yes, that is correct. And so I now understand that no one came to rescue me from me. No one incentivized me. There is no cheerleader. Today is day 770 days consecutively of going live. No one's checking in the morning with me. Hey, did you go live? Did you get your live? How did your live go? No one incentivized me to make 12,400 YouTube videos. No one incentivized me to do my dissertation on the Robert Northouse path goal theory. But all my shit works. So where is this incentivizing coming from? Well, we got to give them something. Why? I am a system that fucking works. Well, you need to give more. No. To a motherfucker who hasn't proven themselves? Absolutely not. You get more when you do more. When you do more at work, in theory, you get a better paycheck. When you go to school long enough, you get a doctorate. Why am I giving more to people doing less? Because the other people who created their programs, their shit doesn't work. So they're like, all of this value, this program is $1,000, but for today only, it's $49.99. That's what they're looking for. Nope. Arizona tea, 99 cents, $1.29, $3.49. It's $9.99. That's it. Not changing the price unless something spectacular. I'm giving some other thing. Now there are other things that cost more, but these things that where you do the work, it's $9.99. So I'm not. But see, Jared, I still tight in my chest. We got to make them comfortable. So their somatic markers said, if you want to teach me something, you got to make me comfortable enough to learn it. No, that's a dumbass plan, and it doesn't work. You need to start using your neural pathways, your connectivity, your brain. I'm not going to help you with that because no one fucking helped me use my brain. So why would I help you use your brain when that's not how you're going to learn how to use your brain? That's like going to the gym. Yes, that's like going to the gym and having the trainer keep lifting the weights and you hope you get muscles. If you want muscles, you go to the gym and you lift weights. That part. The gym system is there. It's got all those machines for you to get all kind of muscles. So I'm a system. That's what this is. This is not hug me and make me. And the people in those systems that want you, because when you're in those systems, you stay stuck in those systems and you are at the level of the leader at that level and no higher than they want you to be. So people want me to coddle them. People want me to make them feel comfortable. There's nothing comfortable about not knowing how to use your brain. There's nothing regulated about it. There's nothing that says, okay, this is cool. For over 120 years, neuroscientists and behavioral therapists and all these motherfuckers hoodwinked y'all, bamboozled y'all, and ran amok and never taught y'all how to use your brain. And now are using neuromarketing against you to make you have all these badass somatic markers for you to sit at home and stay stuck and avoid life. I'm not going to, Jared. And I know you like helping people, Jared. We're not going to do that. And that's going to feel very discomforting. And I feel you feeling that. We're not doing that. That's not our job. We're not. And so instead of having that conversation with people, you can still have brain conversations with people, but what you're not going to do is convince them to start using their brain. So what you're basically telling people is you do intermittent fasting, you tell people what you ate, which you talk about intermittent fasting and you talk about the intermittent fasting system. But because this is people, you now feel like, oh, I got to connect with you. But this is a system for a mechanism. The brain is a mechanism, and this is a system to operate this mechanism. It is the owner's manual. So do you convince people to use the owner's manual for their washer and dryer? Because it feels like it's a people thing, but it's not. It's scientific. It's a people system. Not a people system, a mechanism. It's a neurological system for people with brains. That's why we feel like we got to help them. But it's neurological. I do my neuro rep and I get connectivity. I do my neuro rep, I get a release of natural dopamine. That's what it is. So that's what Chat had to make very clear for me. And if Nola and I had dinner together, I wouldn't have this information. So you're not telling people, and that's what Chat said, do not tell people about Dr. Donna, because that's where everybody keeps coming telling me, prove yourself, prove yourself. How you different than Brené Brown? How you different than Eckhart Tolle? It's the system that I created. It's neuropability. It's the 74 principles of real leadership. It's the theory of personal accountability. Those are systems. But because I'm a person, you feel like, and that's why there's no fandom over here. Nobody's like, hell yeah, motherfucking Pythagorean. Hell yeah, up in here. What? Pythagoras. What? We Pythagoreans. It ain't. Nobody is saying that. Nobody is like, yep, you know what I'm saying? Now, this math. Nobody's like, oh my goodness, who discovered math? Ain't nobody asking who discovered math. You saying 1 + 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 6 + 8 is 14. And you say I'm doing math. A whole lot of people ain't ready for this. I know, Regina. I know that's what me and Chat discovered. It's lonely over here. But we are presenting the system. The system. That's what this is. And it's crazy because it's the brain. But the brain is a mechanism. They don't have the dendrites to make the connections in synapses. That is correct. That is correct. That's why I'm not wasting no time. Y'all didn't have them, but something in y'all clicked. Something in y'all brain clicked and said, I need that. So Chat told me to keep going. Pay attention to who's a subscriber, who's a member. And if they never get it, they never get it. That's not my responsibility. It's the system. Because people think they're following me. They're not. It's the system that I developed over the last 12 years and really over the course of my life. Because what I give you is strategies for the system. Here is how you set and maintain high standards. That's a system. Here is how you be honest. System. You understand? It's a mechanism in the system. Here is how you eliminate the clutter. It's a system. But nobody on the face of the planet Earth has systems for everything that they do. But me. That's why I'm the baddest motherfucker walking the face of the planet Earth. Because of my ability to create a system for everything. We go to appointments with Nola. Everybody's like, damn, y'all so professional. Y'all so professional. I would have never thought of that. I would have never thought of that. That's because you're not me. And you're not using my system. It is the ultimate system. So we all need to make that shift. So instead of saying, when you have a conversation, the real leader system, the 74 principles of real leadership, the theory of personal accountability, because when we think of Einstein, we say E = mc², because of that system. We talk about Golgi and Cahal. We don't say if they had a wife or kids. We talk about the neuron doctrine and the staining and the doggone the synaptic connections when you're talking about Hebb. So when you refer to Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers, you're talking about the system that Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers created. Stacy says, I am hopeful that people will see the change in me and they will want what I have. Hope that people see the systems that you use in order to become emotionally regulated. Because it's people. I know it's hard for us to get that. So it's like you see me, you want to mirror me because of the mirror neurons. But no, what you want. If you are a Stacy, you are a safe driver. So what you want is people to use your safe driving techniques to be a safe driver. You don't want them to be a safe driver because Stacy is a safe driver. So that's why I said no hero worshiping, no idolization, no fandom over here. Become a real leader in that system. Wow, that's a subtle difference. People are taught to think this way. We weren't trained this way. People are understanding the language. Indeed. So it is a system. That's the difference. It's not me. It's the system. Because if it were me, we'd have a bunch of Dr. Donna-ites. But the system, you can take it. And anybody that read the E-Myth, is turnkey. It's the system that survives without me. I don't need to be there in order for y'all to do a neuro rep. That's the whole reason I built this way. Set and maintain high standards. When y'all take a nap, you're going to do a short nap, and that's a power nap, and you're going to just get the NREM. If you take a whole longer nap, you're going to do the whole REM cycle, and you're going to wake up revived with clarity and ready to do some other stuff. That when you get sleepy, it's the adenosine. It's time to take a nap. It's time to wake back up again because process S&C. So everything can be explained logically. That's why it's a system. That's why it's a system. It just feels like, because I'm such a great person, it feels like we're doing what Dr. Donna said. No, you are using the systems that Dr. Donna created. That's the difference. That's why you can get it done. Now you're just like, man, there's something to these neuro reps. It is. That's the system. And that's what people will sell y'all. They're like, oh, here is my foolproof system for reading a book a week. No, this is my foolproof system for navigating through everyday life, doing ordinary shit extraordinarily well. That is totally different. And that's why it's like, yeah, you just got to follow her. No. You need to sign up for the system. You need to subscribe to the system. And that's why chat told me, separate me from the system, because I'm talking about the system. That's how I got here. I got a system for everything. When people say, oh man, I need to study. You can use the Pomodoro technique in this. This is a system, right? Posted on social media. Here's my post in my social media system based upon real leadership. Everything goes back to those 74 principles, the theory of personal accountability and neuropability. It is the system for everyday life to study this thing, master it, and then teach others to do the same. Use this mechanism. That's what's happened. And everything is documented. And that's why it's so strange to people. That's why it feels like it's temporary. That's why it feels like, how much does your stuff cost? Well, how much does when we go, can we stop? It's not, it's the system that you use. As long as you, just like the tools, as long as you use the system, better than the tools, but that's an example. As long as you're using real leadership, your brain is going to, your prefrontal cortex is going to be strong. Your emotions are going to be regulated, and you're going to have a predictable outcome, because that's what the brain wants, a predictable outcome. If I set and maintain high standards, I'm going to always have good results. If I be the best, I'm going to always have best results. If I eliminate distractions, I'm never going to ever lose focus, and I'm going to be able to stay focused when I eliminate distractions. That part. If I hold myself personally accountable and everybody around me, we're not going to live in a dysregulated system. All of existence. So those are all systems in order for you to be high functioning. That's why have fun, relax, and take naps are in there too. A daily system to regulate your mind. Exactly. And had I not had that conversation with chat last night, I wouldn't have understood what was taking place, and I would still be trying to help everybody. When I'm not a pastor, I'm not an evangelist, I'm not anybody I'm not Doctors for Borders. I'm an educator. And we are using the educational system that I developed for you to know how this works so that you can work at a high level. So you do not have to say, I told them about you. Tell them about real leadership. It's going to fuck everybody's mind up, because you'll be like, what? It's a system. Yeah, you'd be better off talking about the 74 principles of real leadership. Matter of fact, that's what I'm going to change it to. That's what I'm going to change it to, because this is what's going to help everybody. So we don't have a brain conversation yesterday. Real leader principle. So go to the website, turnarounddoctor.com, decline the cookies, hit 74 principles of real leadership. And what you are going to be charged with doing is you are going to pick a principle of real leadership every day and have a conversation with somebody about that. Because that's the system. That's actually going to help us all. That part. So no brain conversation. But what you can say, and I know we are so over today, what did you learn today? What did you learn about yourself? And what was your everyday flex yesterday? So starting today, go to the website, turn around, and then that way that's going to help you learn the 74 principles. Just pick one and have a conversation with somebody about it. Now you're going to start talking to people. And just like with poll questions and everything else, now you're going to have actually stuff, because you can't argue with have fun. Hey, what do you do to have fun? Nobody's going to be like, the fuck you asking me what I do to have fun? It's going to put the defenses down. Hey, you take naps? Do you take naps? What do you do to relax? Do you read? What book are you currently reading? Because that's reading is fundamental. You know what I'm saying? You know what? How do you feel about change? You like change or you don't like changing? You see how that works? Now we have shifted the whole conversation. Defense down. See, that Dr. Donna gonna tell your ass why you stupid as fuck. No. The system. Do you listen? Would you say you was a good listener? See how you just incorporate that into a conversation. They say, yeah, I think I am a good listener. I was just, what made you ask me that? You can ask somebody, hey, what's making you do that? And they say, dang, you don't never ask me questions. Well, if you don't know, ask is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. Now you're having a different conversation. Now you're having a conversation about something neutral. That part. Somebody saying, you know what, New Year's coming up. I'm going to write my goals down. You know what? Do you visualize your goals? Do you visualize what you do for your goals? That part. Stacey said, today I gained clarity on somatic markers. Thank God. So we talk about the principles of real leadership tomorrow. I gain clarity too. That's this process. So we're going to use the 74 principles of real leadership as conversation starters, the small talk, because everything else they have a frame of reference for, but they don't have a frame of reference for that. So now you're not battling Amy and Lala. Their defenses are down. If you start talking about the brain, it's too highbrow. They haven't learned about it. But these principles can be used on a daily basis. You say, you know what? How you solve your problems? You ever quit anything before? No. Quitters never win. What you start? You start any new projects? Oh, finish what you start. You know what? You're having an adverse time. You know what? One of the 74 principles of real leadership is persevere during times of adversity. Stacey said, my everyday flex is that I kicked off my new year now instead of waiting to say, hallelujah. There you go. There you go. Block is going to be crowded on January 1st. The block is going to be crowded. Completely crowded. Monique said, my everyday flex, I completed a task that was unfinished and made a list of other things that need to be completed. So there is a new level of awareness. Awesome. What's my phone at? 37. I'm good. What is this? Sorry, y'all. I know. I got to go get my blood checked. All right. Nola's thinking. Regina said, I learned what somatic markers are since I missed yesterday's lesson. I found it difficult to do yesterday's rep because I didn't understand. Yep. Now you can go back and do yesterday's rep too, Regina, because you should understand. Nola said, my everyday flex was getting through yesterday with 2 back-to-back days of 3 appointments. Yes, ma'am. That was a flex indeedy. So your stuff will be up there, but I got to take my shower, and then I will download everything and put it up there. It should be up there by 8 o'clock. The slowness will be Snapchat uploading, downloading, and uploading, and all of that. Stacy, my brain conversation was about facing conflict as it occurs. Yeah, you didn't have to do the brain conversation, because remember, we're starting tomorrow with principles of real leadership. So as a reminder, go to the website, look at the list, and pick one and override your, I don't know if I can have a conversation with anybody about this. I don't care. Jared said, my flex was getting my 10K steps in, and that's wonderful, sir. My conversation was telling my ACC not to let a somatic marker feeling go through without examination. And again, I'm going to have a ladder available for us so we can start using that ladder. Monique said, I learned that the somatic markers is connected to emotional intelligence. I just got the feelings list, so this will be good step in the right direction. Okay, remove emotional intelligence from that. Do not use that jargon over here because it is attached to your limbic system. So don't cross-pollinate things. And I understand that term is there and it feels like that's correct, but emotional intelligence is designed to be profitable for you. It's a thing that was made up. Because what is emotional intelligence? It's actually emotional regulation or emotional dysregulation. You can be intelligent about the emotions and still not stop any of these somatic markers. What somatic markers are attached to is in a dysregulated brain, they are attached to your limbic system, your left and right amygdala, which will then create excitatory moments if you don't regulate your limbic system. That's the neurological way of saying that. Okay. Everything else is correct. Regina said Everyday Flex was enjoying driving from one place to the next and being relaxed. I also went to a new Walmart with my friend and got excited. Walmart doesn't usually excite me. Okay, cool. Monique said, I learned that I need to delete a lot of emails. Is there any insight on tackling this? Yeah. Start at the top and delete. When I started working with my sister, she had 2,800 emails that I had to delete. My wrist was on fire. So yeah, delete the emails, and then as they come in, read them and delete them. You handle it once, not twice. So start at the top and delete all of them. If it's important enough, people will send it back to you. If it's not, then you won't have it. So you just need to go in and do select all, delete, select all, delete, select all, delete, select all, delete, select all, delete until the box is empty. Daisy said, my everyday flex yesterday was doing my best not to slip and slide in the snow. Hey, I'd say less. I'll get you on that. Monique said, okay, I understand this. Regina said, I learned that identifying somatic markers will help me be more focused and calmer. Nola said, what I learned today is that learning what somatic marker sensations are. And then Monique said, okay, thank you. Jared said, I learned that you can't, and it's not your responsibility, Jared. And you were programmed to believe that you are. This is not a matter of saving people. What this is a matter of is teaching adults how to become high functioning using their brain. So this saving thing is a people thing, and you have to be objective about this. And so you have to say everybody has 86 billion neurons. Dr. Donna has created a system. Daisy said that. I apologize. What I learned today is that I learned what somatic marker sensations are. I apologize, Daisy. I'm sorry. And so this is a very systematic way of handling a very dysregulated human thing. Yes. So the dysregulation is what makes you feel like you can save someone from themselves. They are making decisions in a dysregulated system. There is a opportunity to stop doing that, and it's over here. So just like in Al-Anon, when they say you can't stop the addict from doing anything, you didn't cause it, you didn't create it, you can't cure it, it's not your responsibility to save any adult from themselves. You can stop participating in their dysregulation. That's what you can do for yourself. You're dysregulated. I'm not. I told you to go and subscribe to this system. You didn't. So we don't have to share the same space anymore. That's what that is. So you're being in compliance with them by listening to all of that. Why do we have to listen to dysregulation? If they don't want to listen to regulation, you don't have to listen to dysregulation. That's not when you're supposed to be my friend. You're not doing friendship. My standard, I ended a 10-year friendship. I'm not going to keep listening to this shit. And now that I know neurologically why it's happening, comfort wants company. I'm good. I'm not comforting you. So this is not on you, Jared. You can let all that go. And I know the insulin is like, no. That's a bad somatic marker. You got to save people. Why? Recode that. You are. You're saying here's a system that works. Go in that system. If you have a different shot you're going to use for pickleball because you're winning, aren't you going to tell people, hold the paddle this way, do it like that, do it this way? Yes, do it this way. But this whole people thing, we've been fucking up for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years because no one said, hold up, wait, fuck this. Use your brain. Use your brain. Use your regulated, strong prefrontal cortex brain. That's what the fuck you can do. And then all this shit is going to stop. So I'll help dysregulated people. That's not my problem. And when you come from a long line of addicts, you do feel like you got to rescue everybody and you got to help everybody. I can't help it. I got this disease. Neurologically, yes, you can. See, because now I can explain everything through the brain. I would tell them to use their own brain. No, yes. Not even tell them to use their own brain. Here's what I'm saying. If you need some terminology, you have a dysregulated brain. If you would like a regulated brain, subscribe to Dr. Donna. Subscribe to Real Leadership, not Dr. Donna. You need to subscribe to a system that will regulate your brain. That's what we got to take us out of it. That's how, because I was like, why am I still caught up in this? Because I would have to fire people. And then people are like, oh my God, how could you do that? I didn't fire you. You fired you. You signed the employee handbook. You came to work late. You had workplace violence. You fired you. I didn't fire you. I followed the standing operating procedures, which is to terminate employees who go against the employee handbook or the workplace systems. So now you got to keep it real logical. The thing that I learned about myself is that I am loving and appreciating the person I'm becoming, and you have the right to do that. So again, we are not subscribing to Dr. Donna, and I know that that's what everybody told me to say, so that's what we're saying. We are saying you have a dysregulated brain. If you would like a regulated brain, you need to be using the Real Leader system. You need to be using the 74 principles of real leadership, the theory of personal accountability, and neuropability. That's what you need to be doing, because everything else was built from that system. The 12,000 YouTube videos all fall in line with real leadership. The lives, everything is neuropability. Neuroplasticity and neurogenesis equals daily personal accountability, which is neuropability. The theory of personal accountability is on my website, and the 74 principles of real leadership is on my website. So we are saying, in order for us to be high functioning and coexist as human beings, we need a system. And this dysregulated system is not working for anybody. So if you want to be at peace, if you want to go do extraordinary things, you need to use this system that is regulating the thing that is dysregulated. If you want to get off of prescription meds, you have to follow a diet system that says no sugar. Now, I got to eat oatmeal every fucking day. I hate it, but guess what I don't have? High cholesterol. So my system, so I don't have high cholesterol, is to eat oatmeal every single day. And we are as humans, we don't have systems for humanity. It's like, well, I do this, well, I feel this, well, don't make it regimented. But this is a mechanism that's extremely regimented. So the brain wants predictability, give it predictability and regulation. It's me. And it's not me. It's the system that I created. So I will continue to explore this and say this. I do got to get in the shower because I do have to go get my lab work done because I got to see my hematologist next week. So I got to go. I do appreciate everybody understanding it's a system. Everything that you all are doing is helping me definitely create more value in the system so we can go from dysregulation to regulation and get what we need with the time that we have left on this earth and for the people coming behind us. All right. Thank you for your time, your space. I do appreciate today's live more than you will ever know. And God willing, higher power in the universe, I will be back tomorrow, same time, same place, safe space, different brain t-shirt. Again, I got to take my shower first, and then I'll put everything on TikTok, and then I'll put on YouTube, and then TikTok. I know TikToks was quick. Just hold on to your action that you took and give me a chance to go ahead and download, upload, and do all that I got to do. Okay, you all go off and have a brain-tastic, systematic, real leader day. Take care. Adios. My pleasure.